Story of Stella Ginsburg in Austria before the war. So lived a beautiful life in Austria. And Stella married a man there, and he was a good husband, and they were well off. And so the Holocaust happened, and they had to flee Austria. And in the fleeing on the trains and the boats and however they got separated. And anyway, she finally got to America, and now it's 1956, and she's been living in America here for a while, in Chicago, outside Chicago area, and making ends meet as best she can. It's been hard, and it's the week of Christmas. And she hears of a nanny job in Chicago. So she gets on the bus and transfers and so forth, and she's waiting to get back on the last bus to go interview for her nanny job. And it's right in front of the parish. And in front of the parish, and inside the parish is the priest there that is very discouraged. He walked into his parish that morning, and there's a huge hole in the wall from the rain that had happened that night. And he is already discouraged because of the leaking in this old building and so forth. And they have very few parishioners, and how are they going to pay? Now they got this huge hole in the wall. And so he thinks, well, there's an auction, a charity auction just up the road there. I can walk up there, and I'll see if I can find something to cover it up. And he walks out, and he sees this lady, Stella, and she gets on the bus. She looks like she'd been cold, kind of shivering. She has a light coat, and she gets on the bus. He just notices that. So he goes on up the road, and he finds the charity auction, and sure enough, there's this huge, beautiful tablecloth. It's gold brocade and tan and just beautiful tablecloth. And nobody wants it because it's so big. So he gets it at a real good price. And he gets it, and he's kind of happy about hoping it's big enough for this huge hole. And he's coming back, walking back down there. There's this lady again, and she's just gotten off the bus as he sees her standing there again. And kind of cold again, shivering. And so he knows that the bus won't come again for 30 minutes. So as he's going back to his parish, he says, ma'am, would you mind? Would you like to go in and just warm yourself? The bus won't be here for 30 more minutes. So she comes in, sits down, and very grateful. And he goes over and gets the ladder and starts to hang this big tablecloth. Sir, priest, where'd you get that tablecloth? Well, it was an auction right up the road there, the charity auction. Well, it's so beautiful. Yes, isn't it amazing? I think it's going to cover the whole thing. Well, I had a tablecloth in Austria like that. Surely, where'd you say you got? I got it at an auction down here. How did you come about having a table? Well, my husband, he had purchased a tablecloth for my Christmas one year, and it had my initials on it. Now, you don't think that could have my initials. So they got up and they look around the edge of that tablecloth, and there's her initials. Oh, this is amazing. I can't, we were very well off in Austria, and well, ma'am, this is your tablecloth. You can have this. But it covers your whole, and besides, I have a small apartment and a small table, and how could I possibly use that? And people can enjoy it. It is so beautiful. It should be shown so everyone can enjoy it. So I'll be back for Christmas Eve service, and I'll be able to enjoy it. And so it was. She took the bus back and came back, and it was Christmas Eve service, and she's sitting there, and they have a beautiful service, and she was admiring the tablecloth, and the service is over, and this man goes over to the priest. He says, priest, I gave my wife a tablecloth like this years ago in Austria. Possibly, does it have initials on it? And so the priest says, As a matter of fact, she's sitting right over there in the pew. And so they were reunited that Christmas Eve after all those Christmases of not having one another, but learning how God is our refuge and our strength. He's our Christmas. And what a Christmas present that was. That is a really big coincidence, don't you think? You think? You think that's a God moment?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Do you think coincidences can be God moments?
Mm-hmm.
How many of you have had a coincidence in your life at one time or another? Big or small? Sometimes they don't even make sense. Right? That's odd. It just shows this order in the world. God is in charge. God is in charge of our lives. I had a simple little coincidence. What we want to pray today is that God will open our eyes to see Him in our everyday life. I took a little girl to dinner the other night. No biggie. I mean, she thought about this other restaurant, and I want to go to this one. So we went to that one. And then we set up in this certain place. And turns out the waiter, daughter goes to school with her. That's a little coincidence, but I consider it a God moment. It happened that daughter, the waiter's daughter, was having a birthday that day. So I could give him my book. Those are little God moments.